Notes and analysis you need.
Go back. He looks, fires for the end zone. Intercepted. The 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown. Matt Ware. Midfield. He's going to go. Deshaun Jackson. He steps up his head and falls forward. And he fumbles the football and the Eagles have it. It's gone. And the Eagles win.
It's all birds. All the time.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the AATBirds Weekly Report on a special Saturday. I myself, Johnny Ulecka, is joined as always by Chip at Chip for the Birds, and it is the NFL Draft Recap Special. We decided to do it on the Saturday after the draft. I think it just works a little bit better than waiting until Wednesday to do it. Because everything's fresh in our minds and there is a lot to talk about. And let's just start it off with how he absolutely killed this draft. If you take a look at everything that he got, and of course we'll go from day 1, 2, and 3, and then maybe dive into a couple of the undrafted guys. But a couple of things that happened, it was even actually before the draft started. We didn't even get into this. Before the draft even started,
Yep.
A.J. Brown signs an extension.
He sure does.
So all that chatter from certain people saying that, one or both, one of them may not be here.
No, it's both. Both will be here.
Exactly. Both will be here. It's great. That was awesome to see. It's about $32 million a year. That's fine because what you stated, it was great because the last episode, Chip, that we talked about, we discussed about the extension and the Devontae extension and how it got ahead of the game when you look at these other big receivers, and you get AJ done ahead of these receivers, other big receivers who are going to get a lot more money. Absolutely masterclass.
And so just talking about the extension, right? It set once again the market even more for the wide receiver role. Right now, AJ is the highest paid wide receiver in football, and that is before all these other guys are going to get more money. And our guys are locked down. Why? Because it's a winning culture, winning environment. And then you get into the last couple of days where the thing that cracks me up is everybody just keeps saying he can't keep getting away with this. And you might be right, because Howie absolutely dominated the draft. And, you look at it and you see a ton of trades and moving all around and shifting. But he got the number one player on his radar. He got the number one player that I had on his radar. And then they also got the number one player that all of Philadelphia wanted. And I've been asking every single guest that we've had for the last 3 months, is this draft a fail if we don't get Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? And everyone's like, oh, no. But they went ahead and did the right thing for the nostalgia of the fan base. And then they continue to load the back end. This was a perfect draft by Howie. It was a masterclass by Howie. And this is going to go down as, once again, another turning point in this franchise for years to come.
And I think you look at it this way. You start off with getting Quinyon Mitchell with that pick at number 22, not having to trade up, him dropping down because all the quarterbacks went within the top 12 picks.
Johnny, how many times have I said that the quarterback is the most overrated draft position in all of football? And people jump in order to get their quarter.
They don't want to miss the quarterback.
Michael Penix went number 8.
Even if he's a second round corner or a second round quarterback or a third round quarterback, mostly second round quarterback, you're going to see a team draft him higher because they don't want to miss out on that. And you saw it was an NFL draft record, 137 picks before the next quarterback in Spencer Rattler was selected. So there was a huge length of time until you saw that. But when you look and see what the Eagles did with Quinyon Mitchell, you're getting a bona fide starting corner with your 22nd pick. And then at pick 40, you trade up, which they traded up, give away both 50, 53, 210. They got 78, 152. They would get Cooper DeJean, who can play outside, can play slot, can play safety, can play a multitude of positions, which is great in this secondary. I absolutely love that pick. And then, of course, Jalix Hunt, the 94th, because they traded back down, got more 4th round picks. They kept trading down. They had 78. Nope. 80, 86. Nope. All right. 94. That's the pick. Jalix Hunt, a developmental edge rusher. That I would give it. It is a developmental, but he has the traits, and that's one thing. He has the traits. He was going to go a lot higher. He was number 64 on Daniel Jeremiah's board. So listen, the first 2 days of the draft, we'll start with that, talking about these guys and how they fit in to, I like this, the Cooper DeJean.
Yo, that's going to happen quick.
Oh, no doubt.
DeJean.
Yeah. And, Max saying here, Howie proving once again why he remains supreme. Listen, it's what he did. And it's funny. It was the first time they had back-to-back cornerback or defensive back picks in the first 2 rounds since 2002, Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown. So, you don't see that very often. And listen, that worked out tremendous. Those 2 guys were multi-year starters, very solid, foundational cornerback pieces for years. And they both started on the Super Bowl team in Super Bowl 39, 2004. So that was great. Let's see what these guys bring. But I thought the first 2 days was great. They got the developmental edge rusher, which he doesn't need to step in right away. He can learn behind a guy like Josh Sweat, behind a guy like Brandon Graham. He doesn't have to be that number one, but he is a type of guy. And he was at the Senior Bowl. And the one thing you look at the Senior Bowl practices, he was super physical. And yeah, a couple times he did get overmatched. But again, he's 6'4", 252. He's going to get stronger. He's going to learn being in an NFL locker room, an NFL coaches with him. I love his tenacity. I like what he brings. He was one of the guys I thought you could get later. Little did I know you had to get him at the end of the 3rd round. But I thought it was a great first.
All right. So let's talk about all these things. So if you recall Wednesday when we did our draft show, and 2 weeks ago when we had Mike Bauer on and we did our mock draft, we were sitting around excited if we got one of those 2 guys. If we got if we got Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean.
No, you're 100% right. We thought, if we get one of these guys, we'll be awesome. We'll be set.
We're happy with both. And then for the draft to shake out the way that it did, and Howie did not give up anything to get both of those guys. I mean, that to me shows a masterclass. And again, these are players that are going to be able to step in and contribute right away. That is, I mean, Quinyon Mitchell is going to bump out James Bradberry by week 2, in my opinion. That's my bold prediction. By week 2, Bradberry, if he's even on the team, would be a backup.
If he's on the team, I think that's the big thing that you have there. If he's on the team,
I know there's a cap, there's cap situation, and then for Cooper DeJean, he can contribute on special teams right away. He can learn the position, and then for them to go out and get a guy that you mentioned, when we got to that, I think you mock drafted him into the 6th round. I want to say,
yeah, I think it was one of the 6th round picks, I believe.
You leapt at the chance to get that guy, and I was like, no, I don't. But he apparently is a Vic Fangio guy. It was a phenomenal draft. And just those 3 picks alone were like really good. And then Howie gave a little something to the fans with Jeremiah Trotter.
Yeah. And, taking a look at when they trade up to 40, I was having a conversation, a group text with a couple of my buddies. one's a Steelers fan, one's a Raiders fan, and they both love Dijon, and the one Raiders fan really wanted Cooper. And then once the Eagles traded up, he goes, it better not be for Cooper. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was Cooper Dijon. It was like, damn, you got Mitchell and Dijon, 2 first-round talents.
Correct. All because of the way the draft shook out.
Yeah, and I thought that was phenomenal. And like you mentioned, the trades. The Eagles made, I think, with the most trades in a draft. I think there was 2 other teams, Houston and someone else in history. And it really came to a head today when you saw them. And I was having a conversation with someone else, and I mentioned this. I said, before it started, I said, they did all this trade backing to get these 4th-round picks. They had 3 4th-round picks, they had 3 5th-round picks, and they had a 6th-round pick. I said, don't be surprised if they maybe deal 1 or 2 to try and get a 2025 pick or 2. Because they only had 6 at the time. We do know the whole tampering thing with Saquon Barkley is there. If they happen to lose a pick, it's going to be a 2025 pick. So what they winded up doing was going out and they made multiple trade downs.
They loaded up on picks so that if we do get hit with the tampering, and they take picks away. Okay.
They got a 2025 third, which is great because they didn't have a 2025 fourth. They got a 2025 fifth, and then they got a 2025 fourth from the Lions. Well, funny thing is that 2025 fourth is their own fourth that they traded to the Lions last year for DeAndre Swift. So
I don't get how he keeps doing it.
So listen, you're able to have that in your back pocket. Now you have, I think, 9 selections next year, which is good. You're in good position there. But when you look at the draft and, Will Shipley, the running back from Clemson, a very shifty, hit 33 touchdowns in 36 games. He was a 5-star talent, top talent. Let's see what he can be. A change of pace type of running back, can catch out of the backfield. This to me seems like it could possibly be your Kenny Gainwell replacement next year because he is up for a contract. So
I don't think I like Kenny Gainwell a lot. I just don't think he has done very much with the opportunities that he has been given. Right? I think that he is a product of getting more chances than he knows what to do with. And look, Shipley played for Clemson, right? A team that
played for Clemson
runs a professional style of offense. He's with a bunch of professional style players. He's played in tough, big games with professional level talent. I mean, I think that, obviously Saquon Barkley is going to be your lead back, right? But Shipley's a good change of pace back. I think it was a good, solid pickup. Yeah. And he's not a Cowboy because I still don't know who the Cowboys running backs are.
I think they got a undrafted guy, but
neat for them.
Yeah, good for them. But I like that pick. And then, you're watching them and like, okay, well, they have 2 of the 4th and they keep trading down. And it's like, but I want Jeremiah Trotter. Like at this point, so badly. Listen, at this point, and I know a lot of people, there are some people that have issues with the Trotter. Oh, he's not big enough. He's not all that fast, all that. You're at a point in the draft at this point today that, listen, if he winds up being just a special teamer, it's only a 4th. And then by the time we got into the 5th round, it's only a 5th-round pick. So before that pick, they got a wide receiver out of Texas A&M, Aeneas Smith, 5'9", a very shifty, very quick wide receiver. And I think it fits great into the Kellen Moore type of offense. I really like that. It also has return ability. So that's another, tip in the cap for him is he has return ability, which is great. And then I see they trade back up to 155 and then across the bottom of the screen, because I was watching ESPN at the time, bottom of the screen comes in the Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Oh. And it's like, okay, at pick 155, if he winds up being, a low-level starter for you, that's value for getting him at pick 155. Yes, Agreed. Could you have gotten better linebackers earlier in the draft at 120 if you would have stayed there, or if you would have stayed at 78 or 86? Yes, you could have. But they decided to go different route. They did it differently. They still got a linebacker in Trotter.
Correct.
Which
and I think
100% okay with.
Look, Is linebacker in my mind still a position of weakness? Of course. But I think, like you said, and it's pretty accurate, which is if he ends up being something amazing, but we didn't overdraft him for the sake of novelty. We didn't overdraft him for the sake of giving one to the fans. He went pretty much right where he was going to go anyway. And it ends up being a feel-good story for the Eagles and their fan base. So it's one of those, everything's kind of right about it. And hopefully, he can provide something that's amazing and be kind of following in his father's footsteps, which would be very difficult. But damn, do I love it. I have been saying for months that I want him. And it's just nice that, it's nice to be heard.
Yeah. And, when you look, there's a lot of father, son, a lot of sons coming out, and,
Frank Gore's kid went to the Bills. Jerry Rice's kid went to
the Chargers.
Yeah.
You had Harrison Jr. went to the Arizona. You had Alt go to the Chargers. Terrell Owens' kid, undrafted free agent with the 49ers. So he goes to the team that drafted his father. So that's pretty cool. Listen, it's a cool thing. Like last year, Joey Porter Jr. went to the Steelers where his dad played. So it's a nostalgic type of thing. It is cool to see. I'm going to be rooting for him because, I think he has that dog in him. That dog mentality is what the Eagles talk about. I think he is a player that will only get better. And then the next selection they started to go with the trenches. They started to go with the offensive line. So I really like this pick.
Is it our kid from Michigan?
The kid from Michigan.
Oh,
Trevor
my
Keagy,
God.
6'6", 300 and I think 320 pounds. He's a big guy, face paint galore. He's that type of nasty. He is a nasty football player that is.
Could he start this year for us?
I know Louis Riddick was talking about him, and he said,
because we have an opening on the line.
Yeah. And listen, he's probably going to, it may be him and Tyler Steen going up against each other to see who gets that job. But Keegan is a player, I guess, Louis Riddick was talking about him.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I wrote down a bunch of things, he said all that, I can't say on air what he said. And he goes, I had him penciled in starting for an NFL team his rookie season.
Wow. Okay.
So, he is a guy, he has the size. He is a road grading type of offensive lineman.
And he played for Michigan, a team that has to be nasty to win football games. They've got to be physical. They've got to be aggressive. They play in a very tough Big Ten. And he comes from a national championship winning and a national championship caliber program. I loved this pick and the value of it. The fact that a guy like that fell as far as he did.
Yeah, I was surprised. Again, there was a lot of offensive linemen in this draft. And, he's going to be in August. He's going to be 24. So he's a little older.
Yes,
but again, listen, you're going to start to see some of these older guys because of the COVID year where they got a free year. So that's going to start to go away in the coming years because there is going to be players that didn't have that started in 2021 as freshmen. So they didn't have that COVID year.
I mean, Michael Penix is probably not going to start until he's 27 years old. So
yeah. We'll see with that since he's gonna have to sit behind Kirk Cousins. But look, you take a look at that pick. I love it because the Eagles, we talked about the Eagles needed some depth at offensive line, and you get a prospect who started a lot of games at Michigan, played a lot of games at Michigan,
and played a lot of big games. Like it's Michigan for the last couple of years. Like forget that this year they were, the national champions and undefeated. Yeah. This was a team that was in competition for the last couple of years, all the way through.
Yeah. And then their next draft pick, after they traded, I think, they traded one of the picks to get 2 6th-round picks. So they then draft wide receiver out of Florida State, Johnny Wilson. The guy is absolutely huge, massive players, almost 6'7", 231 pounds. And they did a 4.52 40-yard dash as well, which is pretty quick for the size he is. And they did also say, because they asked Sirianni and Harry Roseman about that, like about him. Oh, are you going to switch him over to tight end? And no, there's no plans to do that as of right now. To me, this would be a pretty good red zone target if you take a look at his size. I would love to see him in the red zone, but I know he's had some issues in terms of his hands.
I think with him, like if you think about what the Eagles did as the season went on last year, which is they went out and they got a guy like, Julio Jones. Julio Jones, who is at the end of his career, but had that bigger frame, had that bigger ability in the red zone. And then you look at this kid and you can train him to be that version without having to pay and acclimate a guy like a Julio Jones into your system. I think that this team is now poised to learn a system together.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm very interested to see how he's used and everything. And then the last pick the Eagles made at 190. It was funny because when I saw they got 186 and 190, I'm like, 190. Kelsey was 191. I wonder if they'd pick a center. Like speaking, and they wanted to pick in a center. They pick a center out of NC State, Dylan McMahon, who graded as one of the most athletic centers.
Cool.
In basically, I think it wasn't combine history, but in terms of testing. Like, you see the testing scales that always pop up on Twitter. He's one of the most, highest graded. Right below him is Jason Kelsey as athleticism. He's not the biggest guy. I think he's 6'3", 298, I believe. He is a backup, a center, can play little guard as well. So
we know that, and we've seen this year after year, that they will draft these multi-positional linemen, these guys who have the ability to transition from spot on the line to spot on the line. And I think that this kid kind of falls under that same regime.
Yeah, I think so too. And, starter at center, I think backup center may be, his best option here. He's super athletic. So let's see what Stout can do in molding him. And, I'm interested to see. I know we have a question here, but do we still need a backup right tackle right now? Or a backup O tackle right now, offensive tackle?
I mean,
maybe Tyler Steen can be that one. So Howie was talking about the undrafted class, undrafted free agents, and they only have 7 spots because what they did, looking at the class and why, remember before free agency, we kept seeing them signing these players with futures deals. They put more stock into the futures deals than they did the undrafted free agents for this year. That's why they had a handful of guys that they signed to futures deals that would have usually been an undrafted free agent. So instead of having 12 to 13 undrafted free agents, they only have 7.
And what's cool about that is these are guys who already have NFL experience.
Yeah. No, you're
maybe
right.
Maybe not in game, but they've already put something on tape in the NFL arena, which is great. And I think that is there's only so, if you want to develop players to the best of their ability, you do need to have some one-on-one level instruction. And these future deals are great because, look, you have some skill. You've played for some guys. You're either going to know what you're doing or you're not. And it allows them to really hone in on the rookies and get them to do what they need them to do.
Yeah, you're right. And, some of the undrafted guys, I'll just go quickly, just name them. I'm not going to really get into each. This is just one guy I do want to talk about just because he's absolutely massive. And I want to see Stout get, a hold of him. But so they had Kendall Milton, the running back from Georgia.
I am shocked that they picked a Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, right. He's shocked about that. But
I'm flabbergasted.
He's had some injury issues, everything. But, it's a pretty good value pick to get him as an undrafted free agent. Gabe Hall, a defensive lineman from Baylor. I'm very intrigued to see how he is used, see how he fits in the room, if he's able to push any of these guys and make the roster, because I think he has a lot of talent. Andre Sam, a safety out of LSU. They have Talik Keaton, wide receiver out of Marshall.
Cool.
McClellan Castles, from tight end out of Tennessee. I saw linebacker Jet Johnson from Mississippi State. And the last guy I just want to bring up is a offensive tackle, which kind of brings up, the backup tackle, Aneem Dankwa, a tackle from Howard University,
Cool.
6'8", 353 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
With almost 36-inch arms.
That's a big boy.
So that is a big boy. That is pretty big.
Think about if you can get anything out of him like you got out of Mailata.
Yeah.
That's another hidden gem steal kind of thing. And it's just it's one of those things for me where the rich keep getting richer. I don't care what offensive lineman we sign. I know that there is or draft. I know that there is a potential that at some point in their career, they will be the top at their position simply because of coaching by Jeff Stoutland.
Yeah.
And that's a cool position to be in. I
do want to see what he can do with him because this guy he's a project. It's what he is.
But so is Mailata.
Yeah, no.
And now he is the best left tackle in football.
No, absolutely. He was a project. We knew that. Absolutely knew that he was going to be a project, which is what's good to see what this guy can do. You give him, a 2 years, see how he develops then and see if potentially can be a little bit of something for you. But I'm very intrigued to see what they can get at him because the guy is absolutely freaking massive.
He's massive.
But let's see. And again, yes, you drafted these guys and then the undrafted free agents. There is still, because what happens is when you draft, you see teams start to cut some veterans, some players, some vets get cut because they drafted some guys. They're loaded at this position because they got a couple guys that they didn't think they'd be able to. So there's still room for Eagles could potentially cut a few players, and then there's some veteran free agents that if they didn't get a position like you're talking about an offensive tackle, there's a guy that is a free agent, Mekhi Becton, who is a young offensive tackle. Maybe you can get him for a 1-year deal, and maybe you can see he could be your swing tackle, or he's a veteran. He's played in the NFL. He's played a few years. Get him a swing tackle. There's different options. There's some offensive guards that are out there. There's different.
Again, another Mekhi. I mean, if we somehow wandered around, we're like, hey, let's just sign Mekhi Becton off the street.
Yeah, you have to worry about getting into any trouble because you have these massive guys that are going to be help protecting you and stuff like that. But no, it's going to be fun. He is just one player that just really looking into him. Even more after they sign him, just that rawness, but having a guy like Stout being able to mold him, I'm very intrigued about.
I can't tell you the last time I've come out of a draft so confident with what they were able to pull away. You know what I mean? Like it was just top to bottom. It felt like it's just how he was in complete and total control and got everything that he wanted. I don't have to talk myself into any of the picks. Like everybody was at the right value. It was a great draft.
After that 2020 draft, Howie Roseman, I think, has done a great job of realizing his mistakes that he made.
He got too cute.
Yes, and the 2021 draft was very good. We talked about that last show. You look at 2022, there still needs to be, hope Jordan Davis takes that step. Last year's draft, you come away with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round. I thought was absolute haul, and I like that draft. Of course, 2022, you have Nakobe Dean as well.
Well, and that's for me, Nakobe Dean, like you don't know we drafted him pretty high because he had
third round,
but he had first round grades, and then he hasn't done what we needed him to do. So like right now, and this again, I always say this could be recency bias. To me, this draft feels like top to bottom, it could be a stronger draft.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think this draft is very solid and what they did and how they went about it. And looking at the past drafts, what they've done was they've started to reshape the defense to go younger with the Jordan Davises and with the N'Kobe Deans and with the Jalen Carters and with the Nolan Smiths. And now you have Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell.
We got them both. How did we get them both?
Yeah, I know.
How did we get them both? Who let that happen?
Listen, this may be something. If you look at it down the road, down the line, the Eagles are able to win a Super Bowl or hopefully a Super Bowl or two. You're going to look at all these draft classes and say, this was the building block. And it's funny because when we started this, one thing that I talked about was, after the 2020 season and how much void of talent this team had.
Yeah. There were holes all over the place.
I said that you had to start in 2021, start to get some guys that you can make the building blocks, because guys like Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox weren't going to be here much longer. Now, I didn't know they'd be playing for another 3 seasons, but they weren't going to be here much longer. Lane Johnson's getting old. Brandon Graham's getting old. And I mentioned all of that, saying you need to start getting guys that are going to become your building blocks. Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson.
Yes.
You were able to trade for A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts turned into, he was the 2020 draft, but he turned into your franchise quarterback. Then you're getting all these guys, and now you're still building with these last couple recent drafts. You're looking in the right direction, and draft night now is like, okay, what's Howie going to do to wow us? It's not what the hell are we going to do to, disappoint us?
But like it's even the fact of around the league, it's known that Howie is getting away with straight up murder. Like, and I'm sure by this point everybody has seen it, but Micah Parsons is doing a live broadcast during the draft.
Yeah.
And it comes up that the Eagles walk away with Quinyon Mitchell, and he looks so heartbroken. Like, and it says flat out, I'm disgusted by this. How am I? That is that's an in-division rival that knows that the Eagles just won the draft.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
It's funny.
Now, before we leave here,
okay,
I want you to go and pull up the Eagles roster. Go somewhere that's going to have numbers, because we're going to do something fun here.
Okay.
With the Eagles draft class. Because the big thing now, the fun part about it now is what are these players, what numbers are they going to wear? Now, it may not be fun for you, but I'm weird like that. I like that.
We know you're weird.
I am writing down all of the Eagles draft picks, and then we are going to guess what numbers they're going to get, and then we will see who got the most right. Fun little game that we can revisit next time.
All right. Well, 54 is open, so we are aware that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will be wearing 54.
You need to calm the hell down.
There is no question that is about to happen.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Tough.
Well, we're both guessing. So let me just get the rest of the players written down here. Keegan, Wilson, and McMahon. All righty. All right. So we're going to start with Quinyon Mitchell. He wore 27 in college.
Which is,
does he go single digit? Does he get a number from a player? What number do you think he wears?
So I see him wearing.
Now some of these guys can wear duplicate numbers, just so you know.
Right. Like, I would say off the top of my head that Mitchell would get 22, but Keely Ringo wears 22 because Mitchell was the 22nd draft pick. However, I'm going to give Mitchell number 7.
Oh, so Kenny Pickett then changes his number. Okay.
Kenny Pickett is not listed as having number 7 on the Eagles website.
Well, I'm going on our lads.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Okay. You do you. I have him at 27. I know 27? Zach McPherson has 27, but let's be real here. I think the first round pick has a little more weight than, a player who's coming off of a major injury
and a backup quarterback.
Yeah, not sure he really has a roster spot. So that is that. How many players in the list that you have? How many players don't have a number? Because you may want to go on our lads and go Eagles, our lads, because they have basically all the numbers.
All right, Eagles
That'll-
are lads.
Yeah, OURLADS. That's a good depth chart site if you didn't know.
I'm on that now.
All right, next we're gonna go to Cooper DeJean.
33.
Is that because the edit I put out?
Nope.
Okay, I got 30. That's my guess.
Oh, this is tough to follow here. Okay, hold on. Oof.
What? I'm writing it down. What do
No,
you?
no, no. I'm trying to figure out this number situation.
All right. It is very tough. But remember, some guys can take numbers from other people. So remember that. Some guys may get cut, so their numbers may not be available. Jalix Hunt. Now, remember, do you want me to tell you the numbers that are semi-retired by
No.
the Eagles? No, you probably already know, right?
I'm
Not the
say,
real ones that are retired. I'm talking about the fake ones that they just hold off.
Yeah, I'm going to say 96.
Oh, Derek Barnett. I'm going to go with 50.
Okay.
What was this? What was the laugh for?
Just a random number. Okay.
It's a linebacker number.
But he's not a linebacker. He's
an edge rusher.
He is listed as a linebacker on this website.
He's an edge rusher.
All right.
All right. Will Shipley. That's interesting. Because there's like nothing available.
Yeah.
Gonna give him the dreaded 40s numbers.
He may need it. I'm trying to figure out. This is. I got to go back to my Eagles website. This is too tough to read.
Oh my god.
It's all over the place. All right, I'm gonna go with.
Not all over the place. You just don't know how to read right.
I can't read good. 34.
That's Isaiah Rogers' number.
Not according to this.
Again, you're at the wrong site, but okay.
Fine,
I'm going to go with
35. They gave away already.
I'm going to go with 33 on this one to start. Now, when players get cut, these guys usually change their numbers, but to start, that's what it's going to be. Aeneas Smith, the wide receiver from Texas A&M.
82.
Okay, there's already an 82.
No, there's not.
Okay. On your list, there's not.
On the Philadelphia Eagles website, no, there's not, which means the number's up for grabs. Who's 82?
Griffin Hebert.
Yeah. Again, as I said.
What's so funny there?
Griffin
All right, let's see here.
Hebert.
I'm going to give him. Jesus.
You're going to give him Jesus?
No. Yeah.
Nomine Patre.
This is tough because
Yeah.
there's some numbers you could give them, but God forbid the Eagles actually unfake retire these.
Wait, you said Griffin Herbert?
Hebert.
Yeah, he's 87 on the Eagles website.
Well, he's 82 in this. 87 is CJ Uzoma.
CJ Uzoma on here is unnumbered.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to give Aeneas Smith number 84. I'm just going to give him. What number did you give him again? I forget.
80 something.
82, I think. All right.
Good.
We did Trotter Jr. Trevor Keegan, the offensive guard.
All right. I'm going to. $67. No, 63.
Is that your final answer?
63.
I'm going to give him 75.
This is a silly game we're playing.
It's a fun game. What the hell? What else better do we have to do? All right, Johnny Wilson.
He's our wide receiver guy?
Yes.
$5.
Can't give him 5. It's retired.
It's not retired.
Yes, it is. That's McNabb's number.
It's not retired. $5.
It is retired.
13.
Oh, Devontae Parker is sharing a number. All right.
No, he's not according to this.
You were on the. I should have told you. Never mind. You can just lose and then just let me bask in the glory that I already know I was going to have. I'm going to give him 16. All right. And now Dylan McMahon, the backup center.
Well, he's not getting 62 because that will be officially retired.
God. I think all the numbers should be unretired. And then just put up on the thing a wall of fame or whatever.
71.
Oh, so Jason Peters' number gets unfake retired. With him, I will go 63. So you have Quinyon Mitchell 7, DeJean 33, Hunt 96, Shipley 34, Aeneas Smith 82, Trotter Jr. 54, Keegan 63, Wilson 13, and McMahon 71. Sorry.
Yep, that's exactly what I have. Yep.
I have Mitchell 27, DeJean 30, Hunt 50, Shipley 33, Aeneas Smith 84, Trotter Jr. 54, Keegan 75, Wilson is 16, and McMahon 63. So we will come back to that and see who got the most numbers correct.
I feel like it's not even most numbers correct. It's like standard difference. So like say that Trotter gets 50, right? We would both have a score of 4. And then we added up. Whoever's got the lowest score would win.
That's 2. Just if you got it right, you got it right. If you got it wrong, you got it wrong.
See, now who can't do math?
Because
standard deviation, dude.
Because I said so.
Standard deviation. All right, you're right. It is your game.
It is my game. Sure. I'm sure we're going to look awful when all these numbers are, we'll only get like 2 right each.
And then we play the standard deviation game.
Sure. We could do standard deviation as well. All right. So with that, it ends this episode breaking down the Eagles draft class. We will be back, all depending. We'll see what day works best, whether it's this Wednesday or potentially next Wednesday. We will see. But with that, as always, and again, I want to thank everyone for commenting and tuning in. We appreciate it. Just make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're following us. So when we go live, you get the updates and you get the notification. But with that, as we always end it, these 2 words, go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.